Okay guys, so today I'm going to explain what to do when you first start the game. So when you first start the game, your cards will look like this, and you'll have all the beta. The game gives you, let's just call them ghost copies, or they call them starter cards, but it gives you starter cards of all the commons and all the rares in the beta collection, and it gives you all the starting cards in the Untamed edition. So when you first start this game, apart from eventually buying these cards and not getting starter cards, you want to look into investing into promo, rewards, and dice cards, as well as then look into epics and legendaries in the other cards. But I'm going to just give you a rough guide on where to start. And the first two cards you want to pick up is a Creeping Ooze, because it slows the enemies down, which is basically what the fire monster Pyre does. So if you're doing a Pyre versus Pyre and you have a Ooze, you know that your Spy and your Cobalt Miner will attack first before theirs do, because theirs are slowed. The second card is obviously a Chicken, and Chicken's just fantastic because it costs 0 mana, and in low tier bronze and novice tier, you've always got an extra slot, and Chicken is basically just a cannon fodder. You just use it so that it wastes one of their attacks, and therefore it helps you improve your win rate greatly. So after getting some cheap neutrals, the next thing I recommend is you get some beefy tanks. So I've already done, and I've already bought one of the beefy tanks, which is something like a Goblin Mech. Goblin Mech's just a fantastic beefy tank. I think it beats most of the free tanks you get in this game, so such as the Unicorn Mustang. I think the only one that he won't beat would be the Living Lava with a shield. So if you get the option, fire is always the way to go when you first start the game, just a little FYI. But other tanks that I like to do, and I bought for myself, would be, I bought a Sea Monster, because it's just got heal. Heal when you first start the game is very, very strong, because they don't have any way to dispel it, and normally monsters have very low attack, so by having 9 HP, the heal just comes in clutch, and it just does its job. Another tank that I liked is from the reward collection. It's Torhelio the Frozen. He's just a super strong tank, 4 shield, 8 HP, 4 damage. But you don't have to get water ones. You can also just get something like a Nectar Queen, which just does more damage than a Unicorn Mustang, but it's just got a little slow attack. So after you get the tank category, the next category I recommend is the Enchanter category. So the Enchanters would be something like a Wood Nymph, which offers tank heal. Heal, if you don't know, in low levels is very, very broken and very, very strong. So something like a little Wood Nymph to give your tanks heal is very good for a nature deck or earth deck. Other good ones would be something like an Armor Smith that gives repair to cards like Shield Bearer. There's other enchanters, but those are probably the two most important ones that you'd want to get when you first start. The next category would be summoners. So there's many different summoners. When you first start the game, you'll get the beta summoner as well as the untamed summoners. But some of the other nice ones that you can get are in the dice collection, and my favorite one is a Crowling. So Crowling is very, very strong in the sense that she gives you thorns, and what thorns do is whenever a melee monster attacks your monster with thorns, it does 2 damage back. And when you first start in the game in Novice and Bronze, this card, just this card itself, and whatever monsters you put in will basically get, I'll guarantee you like an 80% win rate. It's so, so strong in low level Bronze, and even, I think it carries me in Silver to this day. It's such a strong summoner. So I highly recommend you get a summoner like this. Another good summoner to get is Brighton Bloom, the dragon summoner from the dice collection. And she's very, very good because she gives you flying. So whenever there's an earthquake map, you can put on flying, and then none of your monsters will take the 2 damage from the earthquake, as well as the fact that if your enemy doesn't have a Brighton Bloom, they'll put in really shitty flying monsters to avoid the earthquake, and then your normal monsters will win that fight. And then finally, the last category is just in general epics, because you'll only have commons and rares, so buying a few epic cards just gives you the edge. So such as I bought a Coral Wraith. There's some other good ones like a Sporcerer, a Spirit Shaman. There's a whole bunch of epics in each of the different collections that you should look into. Fire Spitter for Dragon. One of the better ones that I can definitely recommend is a War Chang, and you get this from the Untamed Neutral Monster collection. This is really good with opportunity, so that way you can shoot and do 2 damage at the same time. I normally like to put, if it's like Melee Mayhem, I like to put him in the back so that he can shoot and attack. Or if it's opportunity, or especially in like games like Super Sneak, I think he's very, very useful when you know that the enemy melee monsters are going to be attacking your backline. So you put him in your backline, that way he can shoot and do 2 damage. He's beefy because he's got 8 HP, and then anyone that attacks him with melee attacks, he's got a chance to retaliate and attack them back. And yeah, that's all for today. Enjoy!